For over 7 straight months, the 2003 Boston Red Sox captivated Red Sox Nation and eventually the entire nation with a wild ride that took the baseball world by storm.
It really was a lot of fun. Of the 10 years that I've been playing in the big leagues, this is the most fun I've ever had.
This team, forged more by alchemy than chemistry, defined itself by the magic of its own resiliency. When the team was down, the players looked up, cowboyed up, and all of New England, historically founded by Puritans, Pilgrims, and pessimists, cowboyed up right along with them.
This year proved to me once again that whatever a team can accomplish far outweighs what any individual can do.
Great teams don't always have great seasons. You need superstars to play their role, and role players to play their hearts out. Every night, a new hero. Career years all around.
Everybody early, starters, non-starters, were able to contribute to this team.
And for a Red Sox team to transcend the games on the field, Fenway fans hunger for personality and instant connection among teammates and with their fans. Something Fenway hasn't seen in years, and something more than a few of these Cowboys delivered with style.
Bad haircuts along the way, some bad bodies, a lot of guts, but guys who had fun playing the game.
You could never count them out. After devastating defeats, they got back on that proverbial horse and rode out another win streak, popularizing a late-season rallying cry of Cowboy Up and earning a place in Fenway folklore as the most entertaining team in Red Sox history.
Weren't you glued to that TV every single day? And no matter what the score was going into the 7th or 8th inning, you're going, you know what, I've seen what these guys can do. I'm still watching to the last out.
This story could have ended in many different ways, and seemingly did on more than one occasion. But with a list of memorable moments equaled only by its cast of characters, this story is unique in Red Sox history. A rookie general manager who ruffles a few feathers when he plucks a former Marlin with his bags packed for Japan. A Minnesota castoff whose smile could light up Fenway and whose clutch home run swing quite often did. The unknown infielder who quietly races his superstar teammate for the batting title, making Major League history along the way. The hard-nosed second baseman who suddenly becomes Boston's version of Mr. October. The versatile veteran knuckleballer who returns to the postseason and conquers an empire. The team's big three, superstars who carry the load and shun the spotlight, allowing their teammates to shine. The interleague makeup game in September that forever bonded this band of baseball brothers and gave everyone hope for October. Those amazing pitches in Oakland that mesmerized the batter and all of New England. Much like the players and the team itself, this is a story that just won't quit.
It was a wild ride.
Cowboy Up, the wild ride of the 2003 Boston Red Sox. The wild ride officially began in November of 2002 when a local boy made good. Backed by team's principal owner John Henry and chairman Tom Werner, Sox president and CEO Larry Lucchino set the baseball world abuzz by tapping 28-year-old Theo Epstein as general manager of the Boston Red Sox.
He is very independent personality, very independent judgments. He's not afraid to be bold. He's not afraid to disagree. He's not afraid to advocate unusual courses of action. This is not a shrinking valley.
And the kid from Brookline wasted no time. The youngest general manager in Major League history started building a team guided by a few of the oldest rules in the baseball book. Get good guys who get on base. And he did.
We're not building a lineup 1 through 9, we're building a roster 1 through 25.
3 weeks in, Theo traded for Todd Walker, a hard-hitting second baseman, and then signed underrated switch-hitting third baseman Bill Miller and first baseman DH David Ortiz. Tough competitor Kevin Millar was acquired in a controversial deal with the Marlins after he'd already committed to play in Japan.
There were some sleepless nights, not knowing, and the big thing was not knowing. It wasn't like it was being traded to another team. It was, you had Japan involved, you had the commissioner's office involved, and I'll tell you what, I just think everybody got it done, and it was all worth it, being here now.
Lacking a pure closer, Epstein and Company assembles a new bullpen, adding Ramiro Mendoza, Mike Timlin, Chad Fox, and Brandon Lyon to the mix. With the new general manager's team rebuilt and ready, it was time to play the games that matter. The regular season began, and Red Sox Nation sat up to pay attention. The Sox walked like a team, talked like a team, and played like a team. A good team, not great, not yet. Opening day arrived in Tampa Bay on March 31st, the earliest start in team history. Pedro Martinez took the mound and was textbook Pedro through 7, leaving the relievers to protect his 4-1 lead. The first true test for the new bullpen arrived in the 9th inning with Chad Fox on the hill. Not the way the Red Sox planned it.
That ball is gone! A 3-run home run for Carl Crawford. The Devil Rays have come all the way back and they win it.
And this game was won, Pedro Martinez pitching against the Devil Rays, and this is it. This is the start of the year, and bam, Crawford hits the home run, and you know what? I think the way that we walked off that field and got in the locker room and picked up each other, it was kind of like, okay, no one's really getting down. No one's dropping their heads, and we came right back.
Game 2 arrived, and the Sox displayed what would become the hallmark of their season, a true resiliency that enabled them to bounce back from one tough defeat after another. After the Sox turned their 6-3 lead into a tie game, the former Marlin stepped in with 1 out in the 16th and introduced himself to Red Sox Nation.
Welcome to Boston, Kevin Millar.
And I hit it, and I said, man, that ball's out of here. We got this game, and that ball, I look up and it's gone, and I'm like, man. It was one of the biggest thrills of my life to be a part of that, because you could do that with Florida, but this is the Red Sox. This is Boston.
Fueled by Millar's first Red Sox homer, the team went on a 4-game winning streak, averaging 9+ runs per game, a pattern that would continue throughout the season and propel the team to postseason play. On April 4th in Baltimore, the Sox broke out to an 8-1 lead after 6. But again, the bullpen faltered. With the game-tying runs on base, the Sox defense got into the act and came through to get the save.
Driven to left. Ramirez on the run. He can't get it. It's off the wall at the 364 mark. They're waving the runner around. Garcia Parr trying to cut down the tying run. This time they tag him out.
It was the perfect ending to an imperfect game. And after reliever Chad Fox walked in the game-winning run the very next night, fans realized that with the Sox late-inning relief pitching, perfection was not part of the equation.
It should be getting the criticism. We simply haven't performed back there in the bullpen, and I need to find a way to see if we can get better, if there's something out there that's something we can do to get better. And it hasn't gotten the job done yet, but it will.
Before a pitch was thrown in Boston, Fenway Park was already the center of attention, as construction and grounds crews braved the early April chill, working round the clock to unveil the much-anticipated Green Monster seats, providing Red Sox fans with the most unique seats in all of baseball. Opening day finally arrived, along with a cold, soaking rain. The game was called, but not before Ray Charles warmed the crowd with a stirring rendition of America the Beautiful.
Well, God shed his grace on me.
The double rain-delayed home opener belonged to the Orioles, a loss that would send most teams into a slump. Most teams. The 2003 Boston Red Sox would answer yet another deflating defeat with a 7-game win streak against the O's, Rays, and Blue Jays as the Sox wrapped up a 7-2 homestand in a cold Fenway Park.
He struck him out.
Including another dramatic come-from-behind win, erasing a 5-run deficit with a Nomar walk-off against Toronto.
Garcia Parra goes yard. Red Sox win it 6-5.
I remember just going home and just burying my head in those guys. Just like I just stood there and just buried myself into these guys as they were getting excited and just crowded around and hugging each other and going off. It's just a tremendous feeling because it wasn't an individual thing. It was like, all right, we're celebrating this together. It was a good feeling.
The homestand featured an RBI assault by Shea Hillenbrand and a red-hot performance by Kevin Millar, who started the season with a 14-game hitting streak. The Sox then headed west for Texas and Anaheim with a 13-6 record, 3 games behind New York. On the last game of the Western Swing, the Sox were tied at 4 in the 14th inning against the reigning world champion Angels when David Ortiz finally and formally announced his arrival.
Garrett Addison way back there. This ball is gone.
On the next pitch, early signs of another Sox career year and a run to seal the deal.
That ball is gone.
It was the first of 11 times that Red Sox players would hit back-to-back homers, 6 of them involving the bat of Jason Varitek. The Sox closed out the month with a wild win at home over the upstart Royals, erasing a 2-run deficit in the 9th by taking advantage of 3 hit batsmen, 2 hits, and an error.
As a guy that's been on teams that have lost, being on a team that's winning, there's no replacing that. So whatever it takes to win, I'm all for it.
Dramatic wins, crushing offense, timely pitching, and a white-knuckle bullpen. It was only April, and fans were getting the sense that, like the New England weather, this team was just warming up.
Gets there in time.
The month and the season would be defined by the trade, but not before the Red Sox bats exploded, proving that while the bullpen struggled, Theo had assembled the relentless offensive lineup he had planned for. On May 3rd, Pedro was just being Pedro, striking out 12 Twins on his way to a complete game 5-hitter. A win that included a big David Ortiz hello to his former teammates.
To right field, Dustin Moore moving over, and he won't get there. This may clear the bases.
Facing the Royals later that week, the Sox endured their most devastating defeat since opening day. They rallied from a 5-run deficit to hold a 1-run lead in the 9th. But with the bases loaded, Brandon Lyon hit Desi Relaford with a pitch to tie the game. Then a game-ending error sealed the loss.
The shortstop and through Garcia Parra from third comes Sweeney. The Royals have won their 11th straight.
The next night, the Sox once again showed their resiliency by handing the Royals a 7-3 loss, the Royals' first home loss in 2003. Back at Fenway Park, the dramatic wins kept coming. The big bats came out against Texas in a 3-game sweep that included a 16-hit attack in a lopsided 12-3 win. Anaheim was up next, and it was Trot Nixon's turn to make the blooper reel as he unwittingly helped the Angels come back with a play and a ball he'd rather have back.
I don't know. I tried to find the quickest way I can get out of Fenway Park and not be seen. You know, some of the fans that were over there, they didn't know how many else there were either. They were looking for the ball, too. They weren't sitting there going, no, the ball. Yeah. They wanted that ball also.
The Sox were not a team to dwell on the negative. The very next day, they claimed a share of first place with a big win over the world champion Angels, only to face the perennial champion New York Yankees, arriving at Fenway for the first of 19 regular season showdowns.
Up the middle with the shift on and finds its way into left center.
The Evil Empire struck first, ringing up 5 quick runs against Casey Fossum and cruising to a 7-3 win. True to form, the Sox rebounded the next night without the help of starter Pedro Martinez, who was scratched due to a strained lat muscle, an injury that would land him on the disabled list. With the Sox down 3-2 and Miller on first, Jason Varitek stepped to the plate,
Veritek rips it deep and far to right. Mondesi heading back over his head and out of the yard. A two-run home run for Veritek.
The Bronx Bombers reclaimed the lead in the 5th, but David Ortiz had the answer in the 7th.
Ortiz jacks it into the gap in left center field. It'll get down and roll to the wall. One is in, two is in.
Brandon Lyon sealed the win with a perfect 9th to earn the save, and a tie again for first place in the East. The Rocket was on the docket for the next day, gunning for his 299th career win, and Roger Clemens would deliver, allowing 2 first-inning runs, then slamming the door for a 4-2 Yankees win.
Strike 3 to Nixon.
Once again, the Sox would bounce back, taking 2 of 3 from the Indians and carrying a 1.5-game lead into Yankee Stadium for a big 3-game series and another chance to stand between Roger and the record books, as Clemens had yet to claim win number 300. History would have to wait on this Memorial Day matchup, as the record-setting Sox tagged Clemens for 8 earned runs in 5 2/3. Tim Wakefield earned the win, and the Red Sox pushed their lead in the East to 2.5 games. The Sox relied on their offense to deliver most of the wins in May, with a 13-14 record for the month that ultimately left them a half game behind the Yankees. On May 29th, All-Star third baseman Shea Hillenbrand was traded to Arizona for flashy submarine pitcher Byung-Hyun Kim, an acquisition that would soon be credited with stabilizing the Sox shaky bullpen and triggering a turnaround this team didn't know it was waiting for.
Shea's a great player, but that gave us stability in our lineup. It basically opened the door for 400 at-bats for David Ortiz, Billy Miller and I to get, playing time every day. And then you obviously see what had happened.
By June, the heat of Theo's relentless lineup of sluggers had already put the American League on notice. Have bat, will travel. The starting pitching excelled, as Derek Lowe recorded 5 wins in a perfect month. John Burkett won 3, and Pedro picked up a win after a stint on the DL. Interleague play began in Pittsburgh, and the Sox scored 19 runs in a doubleheader sweep. Game 1 behind the starting pitching of newly acquired Byung-Hyun Kim. The third game of the Pirates series also heralded the 100th anniversary of the first World Series, a 1903 Boston-Pittsburgh rematch. The Sox won that series, but lost this game 5-4, attracting more attention with their vintage uniforms than with their not-so-vintage performance. Interleague play moved on to Milwaukee, with the Sox second in the American League East. After an opening night loss, they quickly found themselves behind 10-4 after 5, with every reason to call it a night, but not this team. For them, it was time to pitch in and pinch hit. Pinch hitter Bill Miller started the comeback in the 6th. Pinch hitter Kevin Millar stepped up with the bases loaded in the 7th.
Jenkins going back to the track, to the wall. It's gone! A grand slam for Kevin Millar. Red Sox back within a run and back into the ball game.
And I'd get up and hit a pinch hit grand slam. But the weird thing in that is this guy threw a pitch. It was just high. Well, he runs off the mound and comes back about 10 seconds later. I don't know if you guys remember that. And I'm like, what could he have possibly done? He didn't go to the bathroom. I mean, he didn't. So the next pitch, he throws a hanging slider, and I hit it out of the ballpark. Well, I get home, everybody's fired up, and we found out that he went to throw up. So he threw a fastball, I just missed. He went in and threw up. He comes back out, his next pitch was a hanging slider. I hit it out of the ballpark. You kind of saw his face. It seemed like maybe he was getting a little more yellow or something in the face.
My goodness, the pitcher should have stayed in the dugout.
And with a score 10-9 Brewers in the top of the 9th, Trot Nixon stepped into the box.
Nixon hits it in the air, high to left center field. But Sidnick going back to the track, to the wall, it's gone! Trot Nixon has tied the game with a solo home run. We're all tied at 10.
Next up was Mr. Back-to-Back Jason Varitek, who knew exactly how to ice the win.
Varitek lines it down the right field line back towards the wall. That ball is gone. Home run for Jason Varitek. The Red Sox go back-to-back. Nixon and Varitek, and they lead it 11-10.
The Sox hit 6 homers to record their biggest comeback in 3 seasons. This solidified their place as the best comeback team in all of baseball, serving notice that no lead would ever be safe against the 2003 Red Sox. June 10th brought interleague baseball back to Fenway. The Cardinals back to Boston for the first time since the '67 World Series, and Pedro back to the mound for the first time in 2.5 weeks. The Cards took Game 1, but in Game 2, Martinez struck out 3 in 3 strong innings. John Burkett threw the final 6, and their teammates backed them up with a winning 13-run outburst.
The track to the wall, and that'll carry out of the yard. Trot Nixon's 8th home run of the year as the Red Sox on top 1-0.
June 12th brought a heartbreaker to the Fenway faithful in the rubber game of the series. Down 3-0 in the 9th, Jason Varitek once again mounted a comeback.
Deep and far to right field, down by the pole, around it, and gone. A 2-run home run in the 9th for Varitek, and the Red Sox are back within a run.
Nomar Garciaparra followed with an electrifying hit for extra bases and extra innings.
It is up and off the wall. Jackson will come around and score from second base. Nomar still running for third with a triple, and the Red Sox have tied at 3-3.
The Cards struck back with 2 in the 10th, only to have the Sox answer with big hits from David Ortiz and once again, Nomar.
3-2. Nomar sends it into right field, a base hit. Around comes Freddie Sanchez. He will score.
The Cards chalked up 3 more in the 13th, but the Sox still refused to quit, scoring 2 more runs, but coming up short in their 3rd comeback of the night, losing 8-7. Another tough loss on this wild ride.
That game should have been just a tie. It was like there was no winner, there was no loser. It was just 2 teams that just went out there and respected each other and battled their butt off and gave you a great show for the pureness of the game and enjoyed it and walked off.
But true to form, the Red Sox responded by winning 3 in a row and 9 of their next 13, including a 14-inning Father's Day marathon that Manny ended with a game-winning RBI to complete a 3-game sweep of Jimmy Williams' Astros. Despite the long extra inning contest, families patiently awaited the end of the game for Fenway's Father's Day Catch, one of the many fan-friendly innovations ushered in by the new team ownership. Boston traveled to Chicago, split 4 with the White Sox, and then hit the National League again in Philadelphia, a series more important for what didn't happen. The June 20th game with the Phillies rained out and rescheduled for Labor Day, a makeup game that would serve as a launching pad for the Sox march to the AL wildcard and beyond. But postseason success seemed hard to imagine on the 21st of June, after Nomar clubbed 6 hits, but the club still lost in 13 and were then shut out 5-0 the very next day.
But I remember being in my dugout going, man, I can't believe we lost this game. I mean, you know, back in my locker, can't believe we lost this game. Like, well, you went 6 for 6. I go, but it didn't help us win.
The Sox staggered out of Philly, swept Detroit, then took another swing at interleague play. And what a swing it was.
Kevin Millar's gone deep for the 12th time this year.
Red Sox-Marlins Game 1 started innocently enough, with the Marlins taking a quick 1-run lead.
And the Marlins lead 1-0.
But that was the end of the innocence, as the Red Sox ignited a record-setting offensive explosion. Johnny Damon became only the 2nd player in Major League history to collect 3 hits in 1 inning, as the Sox batted around and around in the bottom of the 1st.
There's the Major League record.
10 Sox players would cross the plate before the first out was recorded, setting a Major League record.
Can't even expect something like that to happen in a T-ball game.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, to score 10 runs without even making an out is absurd.
By the end of the first inning, the Red Sox held a 14-1 advantage, a lead they would pad and protect throughout the game, ultimately scoring an incredible 25 runs on 28 hits, and in the process, baiting the Marlins.
I didn't realize your pitching was that bad over here at Boston, that you're trying to add on a 16-run lead in the 7th inning, having guys thrown out at the plate on short fly balls. I mean, that's kind of, which is a blessing. It might be a blessing for us because it might have woke us up.
Manager Grady Little then made the local natives restless by apologizing for running up the score. The score ran the other way in Game 2, when the Sox blew a 7-run lead and lost to Florida 10-9 in the 9th.
At that point, it became really clear to everyone that we just had to do something in the bullpen. And I think the next day or a couple days later, we moved Byung-Hyun Kim into the closer's role, and we really took off in July.
The Sox were back in double digits in Game 3, pounding out 11 runs to topple the Marlins as Gabe Kapler muscled his way into the hearts of the Red Sox fans by going 7 for 11 with 7 RBIs.
I think that we are only going to get better. I think the best is yet to come these next few months.
The team closed out June with a 16-10 record and a difficult transition as pitching coach Tony Cloninger was forced to leave the team to receive treatment for bladder cancer. The pitching staff soon rallied under interim pitching coach Dave Wallace, and all of Fenway cheered Tony's late season return to the organization. At the midpoint in the season, the 2003 Sox picked up their record-breaking pace and occasionally rewrote Major League history along the way. The Red Sox hit a team record 55 home runs in July, on the way to their second straight 16-win month. The month began with a tough series against Tampa Bay, losing 2 out of 3 against the Rays. A series in which Byung-Hyun Kim recorded his first save.
Got it.
The series loss was easy to overlook, since now everyone was looking ahead to the Yankees. There are always fireworks when the Sox and Yanks play in the Bronx. But when the Red Sox faced the front-running Bombers on the 4th of July, it was the Sox who exploded.
Oh, there's another deep drive to right. Bill Miller, the 3rd Red Sox hitter today to have hit 2 home runs in the ballgame.
With 2 on and the Sox trailing David Wells by 2, Jason Varitek started the show with his first of 2 homers on the day. Manny Ramirez struck next, launching one into the upper deck, followed by a David Ortiz offering to the hostile crowd.
And Ortiz hits another one deep to right, way back, and that ball's gone.
Ortiz would join Bill Miller and Jason Varitek in tying the record for most multi-homer performances in a single game by one team. The 7 home runs accounted for all the Sox scoring and were the most ever by an opponent in Yankee Stadium, as the Sox coasted to a 10-3 win behind Derek Lowe, who notched his 7th straight victory. The 5th of July featured more fireworks, pitting former Boston ace Roger Clemens against former Yankee Ramiro Mendoza, who got his first start in more than 2 years. Trot Nixon, a notorious Clemens basher at the plate, would start off what would be his sizzling month of July. David Ortiz continued to swing a hot bat, turning on 2 more homers and going yard for the 3rd day in a row. In all, Roger was tagged for 8 runs in 5+ innings, but not before he sent a message to the Sox. Ramiro Mendoza would send a message of his own by throwing 5 shutout innings for the win.
To go in there, it kind of felt like we punched him right in the nose. You know, the way you might treat your opponent in a street fight. You come in before they even ask any questions, you just punch them in the nose, and that's what we did. And when Clemens knocked down Millar, I think the whole team was really ready to stand up and make a point, and then Trot Nixon hit the next ball out. And that kind of delivered a message to the Yankees that we weren't going to go away. It was a pretty big series.
The Yanks would take one back the next day, riding Andy Pettitte to a 7-1 win. and setting the stage for a duel between Mike Mussina and Pedro Martinez. Pedro would set the tone in the first inning. Both pitchers then settled down and dominated in one of the best pitching performances of the season.
It is 1-2. Got him.
With the score tied at 1, the game would turn on a bases-loaded error in the ninth.
The 0-1 to Pride. He'll ground it to second base. Walker bobbles it. The throw to the plate. Not in time. Game over.
Once again, the Red Sox bounced back, running off 5 straight victories and winning 15 of their next 20, including a 3-game sweep against the Blue Jays at Skydome before the All-Star break. A midseason classic that would find Manny Ramirez, Nomar Garciaparra, and Jason Varitek selected to represent the Sox on the American League roster. The Sox started off the second half of the season with a 5-3 record, and as July came to a close, Red Sox Nation was looking ahead to the Big Fenway Weekend Series with the Yankees, a series in which every game would be decided on the final pitch. Friday night featured a 10-strikeout performance from Martinez through 6, but he left the mound still trailing 3-2. Varitek tied it up in the 8th with a 2-out RBI single, hanging a blown save on Mariano Rivera, only to have Derek Jeter settle things in the 9th. Saturday, the Sox turned the tables on Mike Mussina and the Bombers by jumping out to a 3-run lead in the first. Trot Nixon capped the first frame scoring with an RBI double in support of John Burkett's 5+ shutout innings. The Yanks wouldn't go away, slicing the lead in half in the 7th and erasing it in the 8th. Jeremy Giambi started the game-winning rally with a single and an unexpected stolen base. Then pinch-hitting Yankee killer David Ortiz stepped in.
Thank you very much, David Ortiz.
In Sunday's Game 3, the Sox found themselves in a 3-0 hole through 6 until Jason Varitek strode to the plate with 2 men on, looking for 3 of his 20 RBIs on the month. Johnny Damon followed that shot with one of his own and claimed the lead for the hometown team. David Ortiz capped off the 6-run rally with a 2-run triple that would wrap up the scoring for the Sox. In the 9th, the bullpen gave up a run to get the Yanks within 2. Then with 2 outs and the tying run at the plate, it was time for Manny to convert the save.
Manny Ramirez. He's got it. Can he hold it? He holds it. And the ball game is over.
The team ended the month with a trip to Texas and Major League Baseball's most stunning individual performance of the year.
That ball is up and it is gone.
Quiet Bill was just getting started, now trailing Texas 4-2 in the 7th with the bases loaded.
2-2 is hit high and deep to left field. Bill Miller has just hit a grand slam.
Miller entered the record books in the 8th when he became the first player in history to hit a grand slam from each side of the plate in a single game.
High and deep to right field. The trifecta for Bill Miller, his 3rd home run of the night. Another grand slam here as the bases were loaded for Bill Miller.
You never come to the ballpark thinking you're going to do anything like this. I'm just trying to have some good at-bats, and I guess some of my good at-bats went over the wall tonight. I'm very very humbled by the whole thing.
It was an amazing way to wrap up the month, as record-breaking team performances contributed to a 16-11 record. Before the trading deadline, the Red Sox owners stepped up and the front office produced, acquiring flamethrower Scott Williamson from the Reds and Jeff Suppan and Scott Sauerbeck from the Pirates, moves that may have outmaneuvered the Yankees and positioned the pitching staff for August and beyond.
I mean, I think the additions that they made at the All-Star break were very important with Jun-Young Kim and Scotty Williamson and Scott Sauerbeck, to add depth to our bullpen. Obviously, it showed later on in the year.
The Red Sox were jockeying for position in the American League East, but as the Yankees pulled away, pivotal matchups with Oakland and Seattle set the team on a new course. Wild Card West. August proved to be an erratic month, beating good teams and losing to bad, starting with the Orioles, who grabbed 2 from the Sox right off the top. Predictably, the team rebounded with style as Tim Wakefield won his 100th game for the Sox.
Once the game was over with and we finally won and I got my 100th win, it really meant a lot, and a lot of the guys in the clubhouse recognized that it was my 100th win, and just to be able to share that with my teammates really meant a lot to me.
And although the Sox didn't display their usual thunderous offense, the sky over Baltimore supplied a little of its own. 3 games and only 1 win into August, the Angels came to Fenway and got the broom in 3 straight, courtesy of some timely Sox hitting.
When it comes down, the Red Sox will lead it 3-0.
Stellar defense.
This will send Damon back to the track at the wall. He jumps and he makes the catch.
And pure Pedro pitching.
Being in the league for 9 years now, I've put together some decent catches, but that one, I mean, I showed my ups a little bit. Didn't even think I could get up that high.
After sweeping the world champs, the Sox stumbled again against the Orioles, losing 3 of 4 at Fenway. But even in a slump, Fenway can be a magical place, as the Red Sox players and their families took to the field on a sunny Saturday. That day was capped by a single special win.
1-2, high and deep to left. See you later. A 2-run home run for Kevin Millar. Red Sox lead it 6-3. That is the 10,000th home run here at Fenway Park.
The Sox now faced a West Coast trip, the beginning of 14 critical home and away games against Oakland and Seattle that would tame the wild card race and preview the ALDS. The A's starting pitchers dominated in the first 2 games. In what many felt was a wild card must-win, the Sox bats caught up to West Coast time and Oakland's pitching.
It'll rank up there as one of our bigger wins this season. It was big for us to come out of here with a win tonight after the first 2 games, and doing it against a pitcher of the quality of Mulder is saying a lot.
Getaway Game 4 was a tight one all the way.
It strikes out Nixon, and the Red Sox strand 2.
Until Manny led off in the top of the 9th.
Ramirez hits it high in the air to left field. Terrence Long is looking up. That ball is gone. A solo home run for Manny Ramirez to tie the score at 2.
All tied up in the 10th. Bill Miller pulled the Sox ahead with a sac fly, and Johnny Damon added an insurance run as they split the series with Oakland.
Trying to score is Kapler. He does. And the Red Sox pull ahead 3-2.
Next stop on the Wild Card Express, Seattle, where the Mariners took 2 out of 3 at Safeco Field, leaving the Sox with a disappointing 3-4 record against their wild card foes. It was deja vu all over again as the Sox returned home to again face the A's and Mariners. Mark Mulder squared off with Derek Lowe in the opener, and both would be forced from the game due to injury. It was Derek who dominated through 6 until a finger blister forced him from the game. With a 2-0 lead, Scott Sauerbeck promptly walked in 2 A's before Scott Williamson took over.
High and deep to left field off the batter, Hernandez, and Oakland.
But just as the A's gained ground, they lost Mulder, who was diagnosed with a hip injury that would end his season, removing an ace from their wild card deck. With 2 straight home losses to the A's, the nation grew restless. Oakland now held sole possession of the wild card. The Yankees continued to pull away in the East. Pedro missed a start due to illness, and conquering the West seemed to be the Red Sox' only hope.
Back at the track, front of the bullpen, it is gone.
Down 2 in a 3-game Oakland series, the Sox needed a lift and got one from Casey Fossum, who filled in for the ailing Martinez and threw 5 strong innings. Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz backed Fossum with power, proving the Sox could still swing their clubs without their ace.
In the air to right field. Jose Guillen drifting back at the track, front of the bullpen. It is gone. A 3-run home run for David Ortiz. Much needed for the Red Sox, and it puts them on top 3-1.
And with the help of their newest late-inning threat. Anaheim had their monkey. Fenway had their Millar, the team's loosey-goosey leader who's always in on the joke and in on the action.
I played with a guy in junior college, a catcher, who's now an FBI agent in Lubbock, Texas. And they played a prank on me when we played the Rangers. Well, they called Gray Little. I didn't know this. We get to the field. We have a team meeting. I'm thinking they're going to talk to us about how we're playing or whatever. Next thing you know, 2 FBI agents walk in. They put this video in. You guys don't see the rest of this video, but it's a lady in a suit telling that there's 2 guys we're looking for. One of these guys in the locker room, we're like looking around going, oh my God. They put that video on. This is on Scott Street. All sitting by Billy Miller and Tom Walker. I'm like, man, this is weird. Who are those dorks? I didn't know that was me for the first 5 or 10 seconds. Then I realized it, but no one else did. I'm thinking, all right, I'm not going to say anything. Well, here comes the hat off. Then here comes the solo piece. And 25 guys all looked at me like, that's Millard.
The Mariners were in town for a 4-game series. And it was time for another patented Red Sox win streak. Jeff Suppan earned his first win since joining the team. Derek Lowe iced his 13th. Pedro returned to the mound and allowed only 1 run in 6 innings. When the dust settled, the Sox swept the Mariners at Fenway, a sweep from which the Mariners would never fully recover, and a homestand that Fenway fans would never forget. During this tear, the Red Sox split 2 with the Blue Jays, including a come-from-behind win against Toronto ace Roy Halladay.
This guy's had our number all season long, and to be able to get to him out there tonight was big for our club.
Carrying their momentum into the next series, the Sox closed out their up-and-down August with the Yankees' final regular season Fenway appearance. In the series opener, Derek Lowe took the hill against Jose Contreras, and the Sox hitters left little doubt about the outcome of this matchup.
Ortiz cranks one high and deep to right. This one's going to be way out of here.
The Sox offense led the way without Manny Ramirez, who did not make the lineup due to illness. The Yankees returned the next day to claim a 10-7 win and chase Pedro after 4. In the rubber game, the Yankees clinched the series with an 8-4 win. Despite the loss, the Fenway faithful honored the winning pitcher in style, saluting Roger Clemens on his last regular season appearance in Boston.
I'm very happy the way things worked out, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity to pitch here and more so say thank you like I was able to do there. That was very nice, and I was able to say thank you.
August was a hot, hectic roller coaster of a month as the Sox posted a 15-14 record. Fenway fans and players followed the Saugus, Massachusetts Little League team in their own World Series bid. The Red Sox lost a legend with the August passing of broadcaster Ken Coleman, and the Red Sox, Nesson, and WEEI teamed up for a star-studded one-day radiothon simulcast that raised over $1 million for the Jimmy Fund. September loomed large, and the team's biggest win was literally right around the corner, and in many ways, the wild ride had just begun.
Still running. We've got a chance of digging it out here. Millard coming all the way around for the inside the park home run.
Cowboy Up, a phrase rarely used east of Route 128. In any other season, this rodeo rhetoric would have received the cold New England shoulder. But after a frustrating September loss, Millar, Timlin, and Nixon challenged teammates and fans alike to Cowboy Up, and Red Sox Nation did just that.
I wanted everybody to Cowboy Up. Well, then all of a sudden, what does Cowboy Up mean? And the Cowboy Up thing, I said, listen, Cowboy Up is about a cowboy that falls off his horse and is hurt, and he gets back on that horse and falls off again, he gets back on. And I think this team is a bunch of cowboys. I think this team and this city are awesome.
It all started with a win on the month's very first day, a win that would become a defining moment for the team and its postseason dreams. The Labor Day makeup game in Philly was scheduled for September 1st, and with Manny still out of the lineup, the team came together. The Sox soon found themselves trailing 4-0, but they battled back with a 4-run outburst in the third. In the fourth, the Sox took the lead on Trot Nixon's RBI single, but the frustrating Phillies regained the lead in the bottom of the frame, and the game went to the eighth with the Phillies leading 6-5. David Ortiz stepped in with 2 on and a chance to do some damage. Once again, the Phils reclaimed the lead with 3 of their own off Mike Timlin in the bottom of the inning. Earlier in the game, Trot Nixon had been knocked down, but not out. Now, faced with mounting the Sox' third comeback of the game, Nixon stepped in and clearly defined what it means to cowboy up.
It's a huge win, no matter how you get these W's, you got to do it. And, I think it just goes to show you what this ball club's made of.
They came back again and again, through pain, adversity, and without their star slugger, to score a dramatic win in a season full of them, proving without a doubt that both the team and the rallying cry were here to stay.
If you were to ask me what game was the most important win, I would tell you Philadelphia. Obviously, the Manning situation just had happened. We just lost 2 out of 3 to New York Yankees at home. We're traveling to Philadelphia the day we're playing. And this game basically meant a hell of a lot more than just that one game. Everybody contributed. McCarty, Lou Merlone, Damian Jackson had a big hit in that game. It was an awesome team effort. And that's what was big, is when we won that game, everybody felt like they were a part of it, except one guy, Manny. And we did this game without him. And at that time, everybody was upset at him. And he wasn't getting spoken to a lot by a lot of his teammates that day. But we did it without him. And we said, okay, we're going to have fun. And we were fun and jump on each other and in the clubhouse. And I think, he was kind of sitting there going, man, and the way Grady handled the whole situation was phenomenal.
We've became aware that he was available. He is available to DH today and participate in the game. But I'm putting a team on the field I feel like I got the best chance to win a game here in Chicago tonight with, and tonight it doesn't have him in there.
With momentum on their side, the Red Sox were off to Chicago. In the first game, they got only 2 hits, but made them both count.
Deep and far to center field. Everett headed back to the track of the wall. It's gone.
The second game saw Manny's return after his unexpected 5-game layoff. In the 8th, David Ortiz got the Sox 2 runs to tie the game. Young Kim provided 2 scoreless innings with a little defensive help to give Ortiz another at-bat in the 10th.
Heading for third and beyond. They're going to try and score him. Garcia Parra to the plate, and Ruin is out at the plate.
And he delivered.
This is hit in the air to left center field. Back towards the wall. It is up, and it is gone. David Ortiz with his second home run of the night puts the Red Sox on top 5-4 in the 10th.
And then it was off to the Bronx for a 3-game series with the Yanks. Pedro took the opener with 6 superb innings as the Sox handed a 9-3 loss to Andy Pettitte, scoring 8 runs in the first 3 innings. A win highlighted by Johnny Damon's bases-loaded triple.
The relay from Soriano not in time. 3 runs across for the Red Sox.
Next up, Tim Wakefield and his knuckleball took on Roger Clemens and his fireball as the Sox looked to cut the Yankee lead to 1.5 games. Wakefield baffled the Bombers and went the distance in a 4-hit shutout to earn his 10th win of the year. Something special was growing in the Red Sox clubhouse and building on the Fenway lawn as road crews worked for 5 days, converting baseball's holy cathedral into a rock and roll shrine. After a season of being serenaded by Kevin Millar, Boston was ready for the real thing, and Fenway became a lyric little E Street bandbox, hosting a 2-night Bruce Springsteen Stadium concert event. Over the next 2 weeks, the Sox compiled a 9-5 record, highlighted by Pedro's 100th career win and a Trot Nixon calf injury that would limit his action down the stretch and set the stage for a dramatic return. Sox fans were still dreaming of October, and the starters and relievers were beginning to click just at the right time. While the Yankees' lead of the East remained at 5.5 games, the wild card race was red hot and anyone's to claim. The Red Sox started the night of September 23rd with a wild card magic number of 4 and the pesky Orioles in town. Scoreboard watchers noted that Seattle had lost, but the Sox were faltering as well, trailing 5-2 and down to their final strike.
Walker sends it to right field. Gibbons heading back towards the warning track. It's gone! A 3-run home run for Todd Walker. He's tied the score at 5.
With the score still tied in the 10th, Ortiz stepped in and with one swing, shook the walls of Fenway.
Ortiz lifts it in the air to deep left field. Looking up, it is gone! Red Sox win 6-5. Walk-off home run for David Ortiz on a magical night at Fenway.
Man, that was a great comeback. You know, it just we fighting for win some game, and you come from behind in a situation. Todd Walker, great homer, and me hitting the home run winner after everybody thought that we was just gonna go away to get that game away. Everybody was hyper. I mean, it was a great feeling.
It was the Sox' 23rd win on their final turn at bat. And for Ortiz, it was his team-leading 16th game-winning RBI, part of his 8 home run and 23 RBI month of September. On the 25th of September, the magic number was 1, and the wild card was within reach. Derek Lowe shut out the O's through 4, on his way to a 17-7 regular season record, and the Sox hitters left nothing to chance. It was an electric night at Fenway. A truly wild card atmosphere built throughout the game. And when the final out was recorded, the team and their fans erupted in a celebration.
Yet another chapter in the story of the 2003 Red Sox as they clinch the American League wild card.
Rally karaoke guy grabbed the mic live.
To all these fans, and it's time to Cowboy Up!
And team owners John Henry and Tom Werner cowboyed up with a champagne.
We're gonna take this thing to the next level. Boston, we love you!
We battled all year long. We're going to roll into Oakland and then go from there.
Our doggone team, when it turned the month of September, we start playing.
Live
TV, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't be dry!
This team has showed this true character and this true heart, and we never give up no matter what. And we proved it on Tuesday night during this week against the Orioles that we never give up. And I really like our chances going into the playoffs.
It was an amazing 8 weeks. I'm going to tell you that right now. And it was miserable, but it was all worth it to be right here, right now with this team and this organization. I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Well, the first time we thought we might have something special on our hands, the second game of the season, we had that unbelievable tough defeat on opening day, and then we almost lost the second game.
Yeah! What are you talking about?
Talking about the Sox.
Well, I tell you, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, it's...
Keep going, seriously. How's the interview going?
Honestly, it's about... This is the first...
Yeah,
I don't like that guy.
It's a minor celebration of your first step to where you want to get to.
The Red Sox wrapped up 2003's regular season with a 95-67 record and their first playoff berth since 1999. Four years after their last appearance, the Boston Red Sox were back in the playoffs, squaring off with the Oakland Athletics in the best-of-5 American League Division Series. New England fans stayed up late for the West Coast opener that featured Pedro Martinez and Oakland ace Tim Hudson. The Sox struck first with the help of their second baseman, who was on the verge of making his second season a memorable one.
Pulled along the line, sailing to the corner, and it is gone.
The A's responded in the third by scoring 3 on Pedro and the Sox.
Singleton is in. Ellis rounding third. He's going to score.
All tied up after 7. Ken Maka lifted Hudson for Ricardo Rincon, but this was still Todd Walker's night.
Swinging a high fly ball right field. Dive going back. Back to the wall. It's gone. A two-run homer for Todd Walker. And Boston has the lead in the seventh.
Pedro gave way to Mike Timlin, who struck out 2 and retired the side in order. But 3 outs from victory, Young Kim could not shut the door and was lifted for Alan Embry.
Leading at second, representing the tying run. He's taken off for third. Swing and a slicer. There's Ramirez on the move. It falls in for a base hit. The run is in.
Plunged into extra innings, the Sox had a chance to break the late-night deadlock with men in scoring position.
Scooped up off the deck. He dives into third for the force that ends the inning.
Pitching his second inning of emergency relief in the 12th, Derek Lowe walked 2 batters, and after a stolen base, the A's laid down a little small ball.
A bunt play. He got it down. Fair ball. That's the ball game.
It was a tough ball game. We fought hard out there. Both teams were battling. The game's going to end somehow. We've had losses like that during the season. We rebounded real well, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again tomorrow.
Dramatic comeback suddenly seemed in short supply as the A's responded in Game 2 with a 5-1 rout, spurred by a 5-run second inning off Tim Wakefield, erratic Red Sox defense, and the lights-out pitching of Barry Zito. The Sox were now down 2-0 in a best-of-5 series. One more Oakland win would put an end to this special season.
We were down 0-2 in 24 hours, less than 24 hours. We had a few beers on the plane. We started talking baseball. We got back that night, and that's when I shaved my head. And I said, boys, this is it. And I think we needed something to rally around. It just kind of relieved a lot of tension. It was like all the attention was on how ugly we were rather than we're down 0-2.
If the term Cowboy Up meant anything, it had to mean something now. Game 3 at Fenway featured Derek Lowe and his 11-2 home record against the A's' Ted Lilly. But shaved heads and cowboy hats weren't the only strange sights in the fens. In the second, the A's blew the first of 2 double plays.
This could be 2. There's one. Chavez to first. A low throw, and that it is knocked away.
Controversy erupted with Jason Varitek on third and Damian Jackson at the plate.
Oh, the little ball guy. Well, there's another opportunity here. We went for the lead runner instead. Varitek, and Varitek is back. He was interfered with. He's going to be allowed to score. Interference on the base pass, obstruction.
The A's meltdown continued in the 6th when Jason Varitek's heads-up play robbed them of the tying run.
If you don't see a safe call, you go make the tag and then see what happens. I never saw a call, so I'm like, all right. And plus, Nomar's yelling at me, tag him, tag him.
I get a kick out of that because here's this major league player, Burns, supposed to be this big tough guy, and he slides in, and then he's hobbling off like some sniper had got him, and he didn't touch the plate, and he wasn't worried about going back and touching it again. Then Varitek goes to get the ball, and he pushes him, and I don't know if he was in the right frame of mind right there. If Varitek puts him in the scissors with those big thighs he'll snap him in half, you know. It's a very humorous play to me, but in the grand scheme of things, it made the difference in the game.
Nothing came easily for the A's on this Fenway night, not even a tie score.
Well, now Tejada was obstructed by the third baseman, but I never saw a call. Well, Tejada stopped running, and Tejada's been tagged out. Now Mock is out.
Mike Timlin carried the Sox into extra innings with 3 perfect frames. Scott Williamson closed the door on the A's with a perfect inning of his own. Although the bullpen had produced, the offense had not. In the bottom of the 11th, Doug Mirabelli stroked a 1-out single to set the stage for pinch hitter Trot Nixon's first postseason at-bat.
And a call for a big fly. Nixon high in the air, deep to center. Burns is back at the warning track at the wall. It's gone! And the Red Sox have stayed alive with a win in the 11th.
You know, he left it up in the zone a little bit. I got under one, and I'm going out of the ballpark.
Trot's home run would cap one of the most dramatic wins in Red Sox history and kept the Sox alive to play another day. John Burkett got the call for Game 4 against Tim Hudson, who would leave with an injury after just 1 inning. The A's started the scoring in the second. Johnny Damon and the Red Sox answered in the third.
That one is hit well into right center field. Dye looking back. It is into the bullpen.
The A's reclaimed the lead in the sixth with a pair of big hits. But Todd Walker continued to elevate his game in the bottom half of the inning.
And that ball is gone.
The Red Sox headed to the eighth, down a run, but refused to give up.
Left center field. That ball is off the wall. Curveball. That's into left field. Keehan's got the strong arm. He's in shallow left. They're going to hold him up. And it's a good thing they did. There goes Ramirez. That ball is hit well. Deep to right. Dive. Can't get to it. Off the wall. 1 run is in. Here comes Ramirez. And the throw goes right to the middle of the infield. And Boston has gone ahead on the first hit of the series by David Ortiz.
With the score now 5-4, Scott Williamson delivered a perfect ninth as the Red Sox evened the series with another thrilling win. Once again, the Sox had cowboyed up.
The Red Sox have risen from the dead.
We had one team in one clubhouse who was kind of dreading a trip back across the country, and the people in our clubhouse were looking forward to it. So here we go.
Back in Oakland for the decisive fifth game, Cy Young winners Pedro Martinez and Barry Zito took the mound. The pitchers duo lived up to its billing in the early innings until the A's struck first in the fourth.
Line into right center field, a base hit. That ball will go to the wall. Rounding third. And scoring is Hannibal on to third Guillen.
The Red Sox responded as they had all season with a thunderous sixth.
We do have a tie game. Deep left center field. Guillen back at the wall. Goodbye. And Ramirez walking to first base.
Manny Ramirez's home run off Zito, it blew us up in the dugout. And, you know, he took a lot of slack from the way he pointed and walked. But on the flip side, I'm not a big fan of all the showboating. But in the playoffs, it's so much emotion. And Manny Ramirez basically was like, that's for you, Boston. That's for you guys. And it was unbelievable.
The A's rallied once again to cut the lead to 4-2.
Line into right center field. This will score Durazo.
In the seventh, no one heard, "I've got it."
Damon coming on. Damian Jackson going out. They collide. And the ball is dropped. Throw into second, and they still got the runner.
After several tense minutes, Johnny Damon acknowledged the cheers of the crowd as he was wheeled off with a concussion but no permanent injury. In his absence, Pedro and the Red Sox continued to fight for the win. The A's chipped away at the lead once again in the eighth, as Pedro left a 4-3 lead in the hands of Alan Embry and Mike Timlin, who extinguished a late Oakland rally. With 2 on in the bottom of the ninth, Derek Lowe took the mound, making his 4th appearance of the series, and with 85 career saves under his belt, it was time for the Sox former closer to cowboy up.
You know, this is a situation you dream about being a kid. You know, you're getting put in, you know, it's not Game 7 of the World Series, but it's, you know, it is a critical game. I think, again, Game 1, warming up, helped me in Game 5. I wasn't as nervous. I'd just been there 5 days prior.
I went out there and I asked him, what do you want? You want a sinker in or away? I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. I want to make that decision. Just put it down. And so we knew one of the two, and I said, hey, we're doing front door sinker. Let's go.
I kept telling myself, I've thrown this pitch 1,000 times in my life. Just trust it, go through the target.
I mean, the ball's still on its way, and I think I start first time movement. I'm already out of my chutes because I know it's an out.
Bases loaded, 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, and the Boston Red Sox have come from behind, trailing 2 games to none.
Red Sox fans celebrated coast to coast. Their team had stolen the series with 3 straight wins and non-stop heroics.
We're just happy to make the step. Well, like I said earlier, we came to the yard. We didn't know there was going to be a tomorrow. Tomorrow is now here.
I felt like this is going to be our destiny. If we got to go through New York, we got to go through New York.
Tell you what, it just shows the true character of this team. We've fought the whole year to get to this point, and we weren't going to die. And I mean, it's a whole team effort. Derek Lowe pitched an awesome 9th inning. I mean, I'm just proud of everybody. Mike Tillman pitched great. I mean, Pedro pitched awesome today. This is the whole team effort, all 25 of us.
It's got to be one of the best postseason series of all time, and it's so fitting for this Red Sox team to come out on top because we battled all year in these close games, back and forth. Leads changing late in games, and just reflects the character of this team that they're able to pull through in the end.
It was now Red Sox versus Yankees for the pennant and a first-class ticket to the World Series. The biggest rivalry in baseball played out again on baseball's biggest stage, and all was right with the world. With team toughness as their calling card and a powerful sense of unity, this band of Red Sox brothers took their wild ride to New York for a final dance with destiny. Tim Wakefield took the mound in Game 1 at Yankee Stadium, opposite Mike Messina for the Pinstripes. After all the twists and turns of the Oakland series, this game was welcomed in its simplicity, tough pitching, and some timely long balls. With his knuckleball dancing from the opening pitch, Wakefield silenced the Yankee bats while the Sox made some big noise of their own.
And Ortiz pounds a home run into right. The Red Sox lead 2-0, upper 10. Off the bat of Ortiz, who gets his first ever hit against Messina.
Todd Walker continued his own wild postseason ride with a 5th-inning bomb in the Bronx that bounced off the right field foul pole. Or did it?
I don't know what kept me in the baseline, though, because I saw the right field umpire call it foul, and instead of just usually I would turn around pretty disappointed and go back to home, but I sat there in the base path. I started thinking for a second, and I was like, that really did look fair. And then when McClelland, the home plate umpire, caught it fair, I thought that was very honorable of him because they don't usually do that, especially in Yankee Stadium.
Manny wrapped up the scoring with his second round tripper in 2 days, highlighting a 4-for-5, 3 RBI night, and effectively silencing the New York crowd, leaving Mike Timlin and Scott Williamson to shut the door on their Game 1 victory. The Sox took an early lead in Game 2 on a Damian Jackson single, but this game belonged to Andy Pettitte, escaping trouble in the first 2 innings, then holding on strong as the Bombers lineup chipped away 6 runs and the win.
The Yankees have won Game 2.
Red Sox-Yankees, ALCS, tied at 1 and back in Boston. All the stars were aligned for baseball's biggest matchup, Pedro versus Roger. Red Sox aces past and present, a game that would unfold the way no one could have predicted.
2 of the best pitchers ever to pitch. The excitement level is out of this world. Before the game even starts, I mean, you could feel the electricity in the stadium that day.
Johnny Damon marked his emotional return to the lineup by lighting the fuse of a first-inning rally.
Left field, well hit, Matsui back at the basket. Line drive into left center field. The Red Sox lead 2-0.
Derek Jeter tied it up in the 3rd with a solo shot off Pedro. And in the 4th, Hideki Matsui turned on a double to give the Yanks a 3-2 lead. Karim Garcia stepped in, and when a pitch got away from Pedro, things got a little out of hand. In response to what he considered an inside pitch, Garcia went at his second high and hard, drawing sharp words and gestures from both Walker, Pedro, Posada, and the umpiring crew.
Well, they were talking in Spanish, and everybody's like, "Oh, look at Pedro! He's pointing to his head. He's gonna hit him in the head. He's gonna say he's gonna hit him in the head." And he said, "No, I'm gonna remember what you're telling me."
Adding fuel to this old-fashioned postseason feud, a Clemens pitch sailed in on Manny and triggered an ugly brawl.
Emotions of the playoffs, emotions of the situation. Manny stares and causes a scene, and all of a sudden here comes Don Zimmer wanting to hit Pedro and slips and falls, and Pedro did the best thing he could do without hurting an old man. And I look over, I thought he had a heart attack, and I was kind of the first ones there, and he was like, Millar, I love every one of you guys, but I can't stand that blankety blank. And, you know, but that's Don Zimmer. He's uptight, but obviously he apologized and shouldn't have done that, made a mistake. Okay, but that's 20 minutes of tough talk. But let's not forget about this series. This is the Sox and Yankees going after in Game 3.
Pedro and the bullpen held the Yankees scoreless the rest of the way, but the Sox bats were stifled en route to a 4-3 defeat.
Into center field for Bernie Williams. And the New York Yankees have taken Game 3.
With momentum on the side of the Yankees, it was time for the team to cowboy up once again behind Tim Wakefield in Game 4. Todd Walker opened the scoring with his team record 5th home run of the postseason.
The Boston Red Sox take the lead.
I just was more focused than I've ever been in my life, and then you couple that with the energy and excitement and everything else, the nerves and everything else that factor into playing in a postseason, and I think that's what made the difference for me.
Trot Nixon put the Sox back on top with a blast to center.
Back is Williams, and the Red Sox are back on top.
Jason Varitek beat out a double play ball and knocked in a huge insurance run in the 7th.
Safe, and a run scores. It's 3-1.
Then Scott Williamson took the ball in the 9th to save the 3-2 win as the Sox battled back once again to even the series. Game 5 was one that could have been, but Derek Lowe and the Sox fell behind 3-0 early.
Third, Miller, tough play, a juggle, and the bases are loaded.
They would mount threats in the 5th and the 8th, but couldn't deliver the big hit as the series moved to New York with the Yankees leading 3-2. Facing elimination, it was time for more gutsy heroics from the relentless Sox in Game 6.
That's hammered. Deep right field.
The Yankees started the scoring with one in the 1st, but the Sox would counterattack to take the lead.
That's hammered into left field. Back at the wall to tie this thing. Home run, Varitek into the upper deck. Floats one into left center field. The Red Sox will take the lead. 2 runs come home, and it's 3-1 Boston.
The Yankees answered with 4 of their own in the bottom of the frame, then added another run in the 5th, blows that would have decked most teams.
At the wall, a home run. It's 6-4 New York.
But the Sox came out swinging in the 7th.
Fly ball into left center field, carrying. Williams back on the run. It's over his head and off the wall. And nearly out of the park. Garciaparra will turn, go to third. The throw is terrible. Into the seats. And to the plate goes Garciaparra. It's a 1-run game. As Ramirez hits one to deep center field, got a chance to go. Ramirez will cruise into second with a double. He's the tying run with nobody out. To first, off the bat, the Red Sox have tied it. Ortiz is on with an RBI base hit. Heredia walks home the go-ahead run. Posada screaming at Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire. And the Red Sox have regained the lead at 7-6 in the 7th.
Protecting a 1-run lead in the 9th, Miller and Nixon combined to give the bullpen some cushion.
Bill Miller will scoot into second with a double with 1 out. Nixon hammers one to deep right. If it's fair, it's gone.
And the Red Sox even the series once again with 16 hits and an unbreakable spirit.
We knew this was going to Game 7. We knew it because if you're a baseball guy up there, you knew that you wanted to see Clemens and Pedro in Game 7, Sox and Yankees.
Game 7 offered a Martinez-Clemens ALCS rematch and a chance to meet John Henry's former team in the series. A season, a curse, and a World Series berth would hang in the balance.
Nixon into right center field. Did he get enough? Yes, he did.
The Red Sox jumped out to a 4-0 lead on Clemens behind the tough but battle-weary Pedro Martinez.
Fastball to get Soriano, 2 out. Fresh, Millar hits one to left field. That ball back into the corner, up and out.
Chasing Clemens from what Sox fans hoped would be his last game, Messina took the hill and erased his inherited threat.
That was a big turning point. If you saw Jeter run off that field, a lot of people thought he was rah-rah and, and they're down 4-1, but you kind of felt the momentum going on their side. Ouch, we needed one more run. As soon as I hit that home run in the fourth, it was like, we got this game. Trot, walks, Billy's first and third, and all of a sudden they make a change, and it was kind of like they slammed the door in our face for a second.
As for Pedro, he was only touched by Giambi, but twice, with 2 solo shots that cut the Sox lead 4-2. A 2-run lead is usually enough for Pedro. Even as his postseason pitch count rose, so did his Game 7 velocity. And when he shut the door on the 7th with a flourish, Red Sox Nation sensed a celebration. Yankee veteran David Wells came out for the 8th in this pitch-or-go-home relief situation. He tried to fool David Ortiz with a curveball, but this Sox slugger had the series in sight, and there was no more fooling around.
Ortiz gets into one to right. This one is at the wall and gone.
Now the momentum goes right back to us. No doubt in my mind we're winning this game. That's it. That was the biggest pitch of the game right there, David Ortiz. Boom, home run.
Staked to a 3-run lead, but with 100 pitches weighing on his arm, Pedro returned for the bottom of the 8th and got Nick Johnson to pop out. 5 outs to the pennant. 5 outs to the World Series.
They're bringing in the champagne, the beer. They're starting to get ready to cover up our lockers. You know, they have their Boston Red Sox American League champion signs. They're starting to, you know, situate them to put them up. So we're watching all this. It's 5-2. It's 5-2. He just got Nick Johnson to pop up. He's 0-2 on Jeter. I mean, this game's over.
Jeter flies into right, Nixon back. On the run, it's over his head. Jeter will dig for second and hold there with a double.
Pedro's making some good pitches, but you know, those guys just put enough bat on the ball and found the open areas.
Into center field. Damon will play it on a hop. Jeter will come to the plate. It's a 2-run game.
And as that inning unfolded, it's like you inch closer to the edge of your seat. I know I was. You kept inching closer and closer, and like, come on, stop the bleeding, stop the bleeding.
With 115 pitches on the night, Brady Little is going to stick with his starter.
If he would have just taken him out, we still had a 3-run lead or 2-run lead. If we can't get 6 outs between 3 guys and not give up 3 or 4 runs, we might as well stop. We've given up 1 run in 20 innings.
Bernie Williams will dig. It's a ground rule double. It's second and third. A flare into center field. Out as Walker won't get it. The base running of Matsui. He comes home. Nobody covers second. Tie game.
So Posada gets the hit, and it felt like somebody ripped your heart out. I mean, it really, really did. And from now, I mean, it's tied.
The fact of the matter for me is that we have the best pitcher in baseball. In my opinion, if we were to make a pitching change, it should have been at the beginning of the inning. I have never been out there and have Pedro winning a game and seen Pedro pulled. And this is my 6th year with him. I've never seen it.
And after a season of being replaced for defensive reasons, Todd Walker saved the game twice with his glove and helped force this push to extra innings. Mariano Rivera held up his end of the bargain, and in the 10th, the Sox summoned their postseason Yankee killer, Tim Wakefield. Having held the Yankees in games 1 and 4 to a combined 3 runs over 13 innings, his MVP performance continued, retiring the side in order. But it was an 11th inning Wakefield offering that the light-hitting Brett Boone liked so much, he sent it to the fans, abruptly ending the Sox wild ride dead in its tracks.
It's a sad feeling to have to walk off the field like that, knowing that it's over with, we're going home. And it hurt. I mean, it still hurts.
We would never have been to Game 5 if it hadn't been for the way he pitched. And, you know, to have him, you know, give up a home run in that situation, you know, he's one of our leaders on the team. He's been there the longest. You know, to have him have to walk off the mound was sad to see because of what he had meant to our team. I mean, they probably had Tim Wakefield stretched on the ALCS MVP trophy.
There would be no World Series dream matchup with the Cubs. No chance to run up a postseason score against the Florida Marlins. The dusty trail of this season's bandwagon ended here, in the Bronx, where many have stalled before. A bandwagon full of nouveau cowboys who believed in their team because the team never stopped believing in themselves.
You know what? All I have to say is that, we have nothing to hang our heads about. There's nothing we have to lower our heads about. I'm going to look back, when I'm going to remember this year, it's the guys. I'm not going to remember that home run. I'm not going to remember that ball that landed in the seats. I'm not going to remember that. When I look back at the season, I'm going to remember those guys and the smiles and the joy they brought into my life throughout that season. And and I said that after that night, I said, what I'm going to do is before I go to bed, when I say my prayers, I'm going to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be next to these guys on a daily basis and play with these guys. That's what I did.
The 2003 Boston Red Sox piled up more total bases, extra base hits, and a higher slugging percentage than any team in Major League history. They led the major leagues in almost every offensive category and broke almost every Red Sox team record, and along the way, introduced shaved heads, karaoke, and cowboy hats to historic Fenway Park. Red Sox Nation will remember the 2003 team with as much pride and promise as they remember the pain of their final defeat. By the sheer power of their production and personality, they were one of the most entertaining teams in Red Sox history. The final chapter in this new legend of Fenway lore. Both the team and the story just won't quit.